welcome back Bloggernaughts to another Redstone video. Hope you're having a very good time of day here. Now, this isn't going to be one of those usual Redstone videos. We are actually doing a top 10 because I'm in a bit of a celebratory mood since we've actually reached 90 subs. That's right, who would have thought, right? Not me at least. So we're going to do a top 10 Redstone builds, favorite ones to do, contraptions, stuff like that. I may or may not have built these in videos already, as well as some of them ain't actually working anymore due to the PlayStation update to bedrock, which came with some cons and pros. A lot of cons. Most of the stuff behind me actually doesn't work anymore. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to jump into it, but before we get into it, actually, if you like what you see, subscribe, like, share, comment, do what you guys do best. And if you do hear something in the background, please excuse, just blank it out. It's rain. It's raining pretty heavily here. For once, Australia has rain. Who would have thought? I mean, we had months and months of burning, now we're having lots and lots of rain. Anyway, first major Redstone tutorial that I did was a super smelter for the PS4 edition. This no longer works because of the bedrock update, but it was still one of my favorites at the time. It wasn't 100% foolproof, but I thought it was quite compact, like there wasn't too much redstone involved. I tried to keep everything as minimalistic as I could. Well, we can obviously do better. This was at the start of my redstone learning ability. But yeah, I really liked this. I actually built in my own survival world. I actually built one of these, but was 64 furnaces across. It took me a very long time to do, but yeah, it was really good. And yeah, this was actually a really fun tutorial. I thought it was a fun tutorial. I liked doing it a lot. Anyway, so yeah, Super Smelter at number 10. Let's go to number 9. So this is actually the second. I think it was the second. We're trying our best at a different form of melon and pumpkin farm. This is before I started getting into zero-tick builds on the PS4. Again, this no longer works on bedrock simply because of this flying machine mechanism does not work. Which this, see, you can with all my flying machines. We'll come over here. One there, this one here, this one here. They all were based off this one mechanism, which really put me off when going on to bedrock, because flying machines are now 10 times more difficult. Well, they're not difficult, but 10 times more complex than they were on here. But anyway, this was a melon and pumpkin farm. As you can see, that would grow here. The flying machine would go up. It has a redstone block, and it would actually connect with these pistons, which would break them, and the melons and pumpkins would go in here, blah blah blah, into the collection. Now, I thought it was pretty sick at the time. Before, and then I realized zero-tick was a thing, and this became null and void, which brings me to build number 6. This was my first video to reach, I can't remember how many people it reached actually. Actually, it wasn't my biggest one now. Anyway, this was a zero-tick melon / pumpkin farm, and this is not how it looked like at the end of the tutorial. I actually built onto it because I was bored, and as you can see, lack creativity when it comes to decoration. So it doesn't really matter. This no longer works because of the no such thing as zero-tick in bedrock, which is again very disappointing. But anyway, as you can see, this thing would go backwards and forwards, which would create a random tick on one of these blocks. I think it was this one here, and it would force grow the melon or pumpkin, and then it would break, and you'd collect it, and this thing would collect. Oh, it was nuts. I mean, the amount of melons, and it was super easy. The best thing about it was super easy to make. The items needed for it wasn't very hard to get, and you didn't need a lot of it. But it was seriously OP. Very OP. I remember building this in my survival world as well, and only needing to run it for about 10 to 15 minutes before I had enough to not really have to worry about getting melon or pumpkin for a while. So it was a very cool build. Really sad to see that it doesn't work on the bedrock version. I really wish they would change and update some of the... I mean, don't get me wrong, bedrock has its advantages to some points. I mean, hoppers being able to be moved by pistons, that's awesome. And if you've seen my last video, I've already come up with some ideas to use that effectively. But anyway, so yeah, that was number 8. Okay, now moving on to, believe it or not, something I made still works in the bedrock, and this was my automatic potion brewing kit, or lab, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so as you can see, empty now. Put your blaze, obviously, powder in. Press this to get your bottles. That still works. Okay, perfect. Hit it with another wart. So that would go in. Let's just say what ingredient, and also whether it was splash potion or whatever, etc., which we will. Let's do it. This, and as you can see, it all comes around and it still works perfectly, which is awesome. Now give that about an hour. I remember taking it a long time, and like I said again, redstone, very easy redstone, just really basic. This was actually took me longer than it should have to figure out the timing for the 3 bottles. But yeah, anyway, it worked out in the end. Have we even finished yet? Just want to... Oh, there we go. See, as I said, still works. This should make it a gunpowder splash potion, right? I don't really play with potions that much. Yep, there we go, splash potions. Alright, so yeah, that still works. Alright, so yeah, I really like this build. Actually, I now use this pretty much as my template for every time I build one. It's really easy, really simple, and if you're good at decorating, it can look nice. This this thing was the massive bamboo farm. Well, not massive, but the big bamboo farm, which I think this is pretty much how you made them all around. I think even in bedrock, just the only difference is the flying machine again. I was using the same... What is moving around here? That's nuts. Something's still working. Anyway, it's probably... it's this. Yeah, so I think it was the one video we did a micro bamboo farm as well as a larger one, and so these two were part of one video, because before that, I'm just saying this now because I'm not going to cover it, but this was a zero-tick bamboo farm in the PlayStation 4 edition, but you see it wasn't technically a zero-tick because you couldn't zero-tick bamboo. It was more of a duplication glitch where you'd turn it on, it would do... Well, that's very noisy, but yeah, turn it on, that would do that even faster, but it would only grow here and the whole thing would break, and you have to stand here in a spot, pick the sweet spot, and just constantly spam the plant button. But yeah, number 6 this is actually very tedious. I remember this being very annoying, very long, and I remember stuffing up, I think it was on the other side actually. Yeah, it was. I broke the machine. I didn't have the leaves in to stop the sticky blocks from connecting to the glass. But yeah, in the end, came out alright. Yeah. Building the 5 for me was this. It was the control panel, or farm control panel, which I actually... trying to hide it. I broke it when we moved from PlayStation 4 to, well, the console edition to Bedrock, and I was going through everything to see what was working, what was not. I really got the shits here. Why isn't it working? And then this is the moment I realized that sticky pistons hit with a 1-tick pulse doesn't ditch the block, and it devastated. So I used it in a lot of farms, a lot of builds, which broke a lot, and it was very upsetting. But yeah, but this is going to be number 5. Just, I don't know, it was a pretty fun build actually. I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, other than that, it's really not much more to remember from this other than it being pretty fun to do. And the rabbits kept getting in the way. I think it was this one. And ended up burying a rabbit somewhere. Obviously still not there anymore. I think it was there. Hey! You've been here the whole time! Okay. Before we get done for animal video, hasn't yet to even test to see if this still works actually. But what this was a village breeder. A quick makeshift village breeder, which I quickly made in a survival world, and then realized, it's actually pretty good. So you'd pump food in here, these guys would pick it up, eat it, and breed. And obviously you'd control how much breeding it would actually do. And what the little baby villages, they're really nice and little curious little things they are, would come down here, jump into the water stream, and end up down here. So they'd hit the string, right into a minecart, and that would take them to wherever you needed them at the time. So it was kind of like trying to make things a little easier for myself inside a survival world, and I was going to do a video on it and got sidetracked big time. So this is number 4 for me because I just thought it was a bit clever. You know, it wasn't massively effective, but it did what it needed to do, and it turned out to be a pretty easy way of getting villages from the breeding ground to where I needed it at the time. Now, I needed to use a lot of rails actually in the survival world, which brings me to number rails. So I went ahead and did one of these. This actually wasn't, well, this started off as not my design, but I upgraded it to pump out multiple. Okay, so I think it was Redstone Wizard. I first saw his video. I think it was the first video I ever saw from him. He'd obviously been around before that, before I saw him, obviously. But he put up a. Well, you could probably get rid of this because again, this doesn't work on the bedrock either. Let's just get rid of this because it doesn't really matter anymore. Pop, pop, pop. Okay, so what this was a rail duplication machine. So you could put any rail in here and it would just glitch out rails and like any rails you want. Like I was obviously testing it here, but it was amazing. Now, Redstone Wizard's machine was a singular module, so there was none of this, it was just this. But I added the extra rail bit to it. So technically still copied and pasted, but just add a little bit to it, just let everyone know you could upgrade this. And at the time, I don't know if I did it in the video, but I put a powered rail here as well as a normal rail here, and I was pumping out both of them at the same time. The initial idea was to get all 4 different rail types in one machine, but it went over the slime block piston carry limit of 12, which really sucked. But we managed to get 2. I probably could have done 3, but 2 seemed good enough for me. And yeah, so very, very fun. It was my first real complicated build, even though it really wasn't that complicated, which was really surprising. I mean, machines that are this OP should be complicated to build, but it really wasn't. But yeah, that was number 3. Let's move on to number 2. A door that was made by Impulse SV in the Hermitcraft series, which was the door to the iTrade, I believe it was. It was a while ago. Yeah, so you just simple keycard access. So you throw that, comes back up, and it gives you enough time to walk on in. And you just walk on out, coming out with pressure plates. He had 1 door. I extended it again to 2 doors. Mainly it was just to see if it worked on the PS4 edition, and lo and behold, it did. So yeah, another fun one. I like doing these types of build, like farming. Building farms is okay, but you kind of get sick of it after a while, and I'm more into the contraptions and stuff like that. So anything to make life a little bit easier on Minecraft, or even something you can show off to your friends, or even like this, is more of a security thing. But you know, it's what I enjoy doing a little bit more than the actual farms itself. Anyway, last but not least, and my favorite build, no, it does not work on bedrock because it involves a 0 tick mechanic, and yeah, it was my favorite build, and it still is. I'm really disappointed it doesn't work anymore, but hey, it took me ages. It's not technical. Again, all it was a couple of 0 tick engines, 4 0 tick engines with a whole bunch of slime blocks. This would move up and down along with this, which would create the 0 tick in here, and you'd actually plant your kelp in here. So this was a massive kelp farm, really, a massive kelp farm. 8 modules, I think, of 6 or 7. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so modules of 6. And this thing was incredible. It pumped out, was it 30, 35 and a half, 36 and a half thousand kelp an hour. Yeah, 1,000 kelp an hour. 36 or 36 and a half thousand kelp an hour, I think. But at the time, I was more interested in making bone meal. So this was attached to it, and I don't know why I did that. This will be empty. Oh no, you still got a bunch of kelp in there, but yeah. So yeah, converted it into bone meal. See, this was to turn it on. As you can see, nothing. Yeah, which is very disappointing. But yeah, so I think it was around 2,000 bone meal an hour this thing made. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably the longest tutorial video I have up. And like I said, it does not work on bedrock, but it works on the previous edition of PS4. So if you're still playing on the previous version of PS4, it will still work. Just like all the other ones I said that don't work on bedrock, they will still work on the previous edition, just not on bedrock. So yeah, unfortunately. So that was the top 10. However, I do have a special treat for you. Oh no, a special treat maybe. It's actually right over there. That's a long way away. The last couple of videos I actually did a chicken farm. Well, automatic chicken farm. This again wasn't my design, and it's simple, it's plain, it's boring, and apparently for some people that don't like watching tutorials prefer, yeah, this is what happens if you don't know what you're doing and you try and figure it out yourself. I mean, how did he start it again? It was one, I think it was something like this. So you place that there. It was supposed to be quick enough to... There we go. There we go. That's so annoying. And then having to build outwards to get all those... I mean, 4 days. I gotta get rid of this. This is annoying. 4 days of just letting this run with a massive... It was impressive. Very... yeah, it was a good video. Anyway. So from that, I decided to create my own said chicken farm. And it wouldn't be my own if I didn't make it fun. And obviously had to kill them and store items because it is a chicken farm. So this is what I came up with. I mean, oh no. Oh. So yeah, this is mine. Trampoline in the middle, which throws the chickens around. A hopper clock here dispersing a whole bunch of arrows, which goes through lava. And when the arrows go through lava, they actually turn into fire arrows, which is an amazing, really amazing thing, which gives you the cooked chicken. Now, this here is because a lot of the eggs and stuff would make it to the middle. And because of that, they wouldn't go into the hoppers, which is actually around here. So I had to make a little, oh, it's very noisy in here, up. So when random eggs and stuff would come up here, they'd get caught and eventually get pushed to the side. Actually, let's see if I can quickly show you. Let's just drop this here. Did it work? Oh, there it goes. It's in there. Up. Just like that. Nice and easy. Down here, so all the collection things go into a, obviously there's your feathers, there's your cooked chicken, and then all the eggs would actually continue out, so we filter out the eggs, and the eggs will come back around and get shot back into the system. Now, before I actually showed this, I had to cull it a little bit because of the amount of chickens that were in here were lagging the PlayStation so bad. Okay, it's... Oh, cobblestone. I forgot all about that. All the time I have left for this video. I hope you guys liked. If you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe. If I get enough subscribers, I'll go to speech therapy. How about that? That's not a promise. Okay, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. See you next video. Toodaloo.